This is a review of similar figures. Okay, now remember, similar figures have corresponding congruent angles, but their sides are proportional. So, what does that mean? Well, it means that based on my similarity statement, okay, the order of the letters tells me which angles are congruent. So Q is congruent to M. N is the second letter, so that's congruent to R. And then P, obviously, is congruent to P. It's congruent to itself. And we're looking for the length of QR, which happens to be that right there. Okay. Now, there's a couple different ways you could approach this. The easiest way would be, if it's easier for you to see, is to separate out the smaller triangle from the larger one. So we have PQR, and then we have our larger triangle PMN. Okay, and obviously we know P is congruent to itself, Q is congruent to M, and R is congruent to N. Now this is 2, but PM is 5. We're looking for QR, which is X, and this is 4. Okay, so the easiest way would be to find the scale factor between PQ and PM, which would require, so that means 2 is to 5. Now, if we divide 2 divided by 5, and then X is to 4. Now, this is the only time where we would cross multiply to solve, because we have 2 fractions that are equal to each other. So 2 times 4 and X times 5. So I get 5X equals 8. And then to find our answer, we would divide both sides by 5. And I do believe we get 1.6. So that is the value of QR. Okay, we match up the side lengths. First step. Match the side lengths based on our similarity statement. Then set the 2 fractions equal to each other, and that's based off of the corresponding side length. So that's why 2 is to 5 and X is to 4. Also keep in mind that horizontally, notice how I started with the 2 on top. That means horizontally every value from the smaller triangle must also be on the top. So that way we make sure we get our correct answer. Cross multiply and then solve. Okay. This one is there's a few more steps to it that's involved. Okay. Here we have LMN is similar to XYZ, and thankfully the letters and the orientation of the triangles are all the same, which is quite nice. This doesn't always happen. Okay. And we're looking for the length of XZ. Okay, so first thing we need to do is, steps are the same. So you can see that LM goes to xy. LM corresponds with xy. And again, I started with the smaller triangle, so MN must also go on top. And that corresponds to YZ. Okay. And now I'm going to fill in my information. So LM is K plus 3 over 36. MN is K plus 5, and that's over 44. Okay. Once it's set up, cross multiply. Okay, now, so we're going to do 36 times K plus 5 equals 44 times K plus 3. Now I put it in parentheses because we have to multiply 44 by both K and 3, and I have to multiply 36 by both K and 5. So when I do that, I'm going to go 36 times K, which is 36K, and then 36 times 5. In this particular question, you would be allowed your calculator. So 36 times 5 is 180. Then I have to do 44 times K, which is 44K, and 44 times 3, which is 132. Okay, now I have an algebraic equation that I need to solve. Now I have to get all the variables on one side of the equal sign and all of the numbers on the other. So to keep my variables positive, I'm going to subtract 36 from both sides. Remember, that'll cancel, leaving me with just 180 equals 8K. Okay. And since I moved the variables to the right, I need to move the numbers to the left. They have to go opposite. So minus 132. So what I get is 8K is equal to 48. Last step, divide by 8. So K equals 6. All right, so we go back to our image here. We see that K equals 6. So we solved for the length of Ln, but that's not what the question is asking. The question is asking for the length of xz, which happens to be my question mark here. So what should I do? Well, K equals 6, so if I substitute 6 in for K here, I get this side equal to 11. And if I substitute my 6 here, I get this side equal to 9. Okay, so if you notice, 9 to 36, 11 to 44. The ratio, I'm multiplying both 9 and 36 times 4 to get 44 and 36. Now, if you didn't recognize that you're multiplying by 4, you could simply do, okay, 44 divided by 11. Okay, that's 4. 36 divided by 9, that's 4. Okay, so the larger triangle XYZ was dilated by a factor of 4. So what's 6 times 4? 24. That is the length of XZ. Okay, let's flip over to our next question here. Again, we are told that JKL is congruent to STU. Okay, we can tell, so L and U are congruent, and those are both 90-degree angles. and then S is the first letter, so that means J is the first letter. So that means these two angles are congruent. Based on the measurements in the diagram, what is the measure of angle K? Okay, so we're looking for this angle here. Well, because the similarity statement tells us which angles are congruent, that means angle J is also 60 degrees. And what you need to remember is that there are only 180 degrees in any given triangle. So if you subtract 90, because that's what my right angle is here, 90, I get 90. And then subtract 60, my remaining angle is 30 degrees, which is also the value of angle T. Okay, get number 4 a try. It's asking for which two triangles are similar. Okay, got to remember that there are 180 degrees in a triangle. So, solve for the missing angle in each of these triangles and determine which ones are similar. Okay, so if we do 180, I'll start with my first triangle here. $68, so I subtract 68 from 180. I get 2, 7 from 6 is 1, minus 1. Okay, so this is 112. Oh no, it's not, sorry, because I also have to subtract 74. Gotta subtract both angles. So this is it. 12 from 4 is 8. 10 minus 7 is 3. Okay, so this is 38 degrees. Okay. All right, so if I have, using process of elimination, if I have a 45-degree angle and a 68-degree angle, 1 and 2 can't possibly be similar because my last angle, because this is 45, it's bigger than my smaller angle for my first triangle. That means angle M is going to be less than 74 degrees, so it can't possibly be that one. Here we have 74, and again we have 45, which is more than my smallest angle for E, so that doesn't work. But if you see here, triangle number 4, I have a 38-degree angle, I have a 68-degree angle, so therefore, and this is an angle symbol, not a 1, then this means this is 74 degrees. So 1 and 4 are my two triangles that are similar. Okay, turn it over. Now, they give us the two triangles that we just identified. And we know that this is 38 degrees, and this must also be 38 degrees because everything has to add to 180. Now here it's asking you to write the similarity statement. Okay, to write the similarity statement, we need to put the angle put the angles in the right order, so that way they prove that they're congruent. So E is 38 degrees, and so is Z. F is 68 degrees, and that would be X, and then of course G and Y are 74. So that would be your correct similarity statement.